Everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the feature race at Belmont on Friday. Race number 9, wide open. It's the Oyster Bay Stakes. Let's take a look at this field. 7/8 of a mile on the Widener turf. It's a big field. It's an evenly matched field. Chad Brown has a very strong hand in this race. The 6 Flavius, stakes winner at Saratoga, value proposition, winner of the Red Bank at Monmouth. But it's not just Chad's race to be had. It's not a slam dunk by any stretch of the imagination.
No, it's not. He probably has, 3 of the, certainly major players in this field. That's for sure. All 3 of those horses also cutting back to 7 furlongs for this race. I don't know. I'm not going to be surprised when any one of Chad's 3 wins, but like you, I thought the composition ran pretty deep in here.
I'm not going to argue with the time form US pace projector. They got the rail horse, Ballydooley, expected to make the lead. Ballydooley's won 3 of his last 4 starts. He likes to hear his feet rattle early. Pulsate's tactical speed always makes him a dangerous contender. And I think Made You Look is a little bit interesting, Mike, cutting back in distance, but with enough speed to kind of work out that second flight trip.
Yeah, I mean, I can see the pace playing out this way. You don't tend to get fast paces on turf around here. Ballydooley drawn to the rail in good form. It feels like blinkers have really made a difference for this horse. As you say, he's won 3 of his last 4, and he's also won a race over this distance. So that's a little bit of a feather in his cap. But boy, did he find a tough spot here.
Ballydooley's doesn't owe his backers anything. He won a maiden claimer at 15-1. He won a starter allowance at 30-1. And then he won this allowance race going 3/4 of a mile at 18-1. And in this race, he was just able to clear off from the far outside post. And he was pretty good to keep going in the stretch, Mike. His race is going 7/8, solid fig. His race in here in 86, solid fig. But you're right. This is a big step up in class, and he's likely going to take a little bit more heat this time around.
Yeah, I mean, he just got loose in this win. He'll probably make the lead here. I don't know if he's going to get loose on a slow pace, though. And obviously, he's just stepping way up in class.
I wonder if Battle Station's a little bit dirtied up, and he might come with a run if he gets enough pace. I liked his race in the Parks Dash 3 back, where he was just 4 wide all the way through the turn and into the stretch, and he just missed to odds-on winner the Critical Way. I know they rated that turf course good in the Turf Monster. That was a very yielding course. I talked to several horsemen that day who said, if it's not Pennsylvania Derby Day, that race is washed off. And then he ran in this race, the Laurel Dash, where the winner XY Speed just got a great split in between horses, while Battle Station had too much to do in the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, he had too much to do because they just showed no aggression at all with this horse early. Took him way back off the pace and sat there. He's trying to make a run here through the stretch. And as usual for this horse, who's been around for a long time, he's just really game through the stretch, making up ground. But he can't get there. He's another horse who I feel like is stepping up pretty significantly in class for this, Dan. And I also wonder about 7 furlongs for him. I mean, it's not your typical turf sprint, where the horses that are good at 5 and 6 or 5.5 and 6 are quite as effective.
Although that 5.5 Laurel might play longer with a long stretch in the second wire finish. Made You Look, the 3 is turning back for an underrated trainer, and I thought this horse ran an underrated race last time out at Saratoga because even though it was a short field, it was a very fast and contested pace, and Made You Look battled it out with Analyze It in a race that just went to 2 deep closers. Analyze It came back to win with a 98 buyer. The runner-up came back to win with a 98 buyer. Maybe this horse was just compromised by the setup.
Yeah, he probably was. That was a race where you wanted to sort of sit and make one run, and this horse obviously didn't do that. I also don't mind him cutting back to 7 for this race, Dan. I feel like that could actually work to his advantage. And while he's held his form for the most part overall, I think it's worth pointing out we're still talking about a horse who has not won a race since May of 2018. So, as good as he's been, he's pretty hard to bet against a field like this.
Emirati, one of Chad's sharp cutback and distance horses, has already won twice, going 7 furlongs. That was overseas. Let's watch his last race, 2 other than at Saratoga. Emirati gets the better of a couple of minor next out winners in this race. He's just on the outside, traveling very sweetly, and he's going to go by these horses in the stretch. Solid performance, 95 buyer speed figure. Lasix off for this.
Yeah, he got a great trip in this race, but he also won very easily at the end of the day here. No trouble taking over through this stretch, and he's just going away at the end. This was a nice performance. He's shown, a lot of ability since he's gotten here, Dan. Chad has had a really tough time keeping him on the racetrack, but when he shows up, he runs.
The Belmont Turf Sprint was a very odd race, I thought, in that there was no speed whatsoever. Let's watch Pulsate's good runner-up effort. Arrest Me Red went right to the front. Pulsate sort of chased the pace 3-4 wide, and the pace isn't fast. And as Pulsate is wont to do, he tries very hard and finishes a good second. Byland and C was very curiously ridden early, sort of in between and in and among horses. He's going to finish seventh in his first start off a layoff and can certainly do better here.
Yeah, Bylandis did not get a good trip in this race, especially when you just look at how it was run. Byland, or Arrest Me Red, rather, the winner of that race is a 3-year-old, but a pretty good one. And he just had all the best of it there. They let him make his way to the lead without having to work for it. And then they didn't challenge him until they came to the stretch. And you're just not going to beat a horse like him when you hand him that kind of a trip. I thought Pulsate ran well. I thought Byland and C probably ran an underrated race off the layoff there. And I think they could both do better in this race. I don't mind the 7 furlongs for either one of these horses.
What about with Flavius, a horse that tired last time out at Kentucky Downs in a graded stakes race? He was the favorite. He was running against some good competition. The runner-up came back to run third in the Keeneland Turf Mile with a 99 buyer. This horse previously was a stakes winner going 2 turns at Saratoga. He's run sprinting overseas in the past. And it looks like he has enough of a versatile running style where he can adapt to the pace scenario.
Yeah, I thought all those things were probably true too. I mean, if I'm being honest, then I haven't been, his biggest fan since he's gotten over it, but he's certainly run several races that will make him a player in here. And I actually felt like in that most recent start of Kentucky Downs, I mean, he was certainly compromised in that race while, going early to contest what was a really fast pace in a race that wound up going to a closer. I don't think he ran poorly last time, but when he ran the big figure 2 back at Saratoga, I mean, they basically just handed that race to him, let him walk on a slow pace, and he sprinted away through the stretch. I could go either way on him, and if he's going to be, the favorite in this race or one of the favorites, I'll probably try to beat him with other horses.
Now, you and I have been big fans of Byland and C throughout his career. It's just a shame that it seems like there's been physical issues that have just kept him off the track just when it seems like he's getting good. He was a stakes winner at 2. He looked very good in his seasonal debut in 2020. And we saw that Belmont Turf Sprint, a race where he just didn't show any speed, was in and among horses. I didn't really think had a best chance to run. What do you make of the blinkers coming off?
Yeah, I don't know. The equipment changes, I'm never a big fan of that kind of stuff, but with the price he figures to be in this race, I guess I won't worry about it too much. He was off the layoff last time. If you go back and watch the full replay there, it's pretty clear that he just never had any kind of a chance to be effective in that race. Never in a position to run. Ultimately got shuffled all the way back to last by the time they came down to the 8th pole. And he wasn't, that's really the first time he got clear in the race then. It was basically already over. I'm going to put a line through that race. I feel like the 7 furlongs could really help this horse. Does he have to improve to beat this field? Yeah, he has to improve, but I won't be surprised if he can do it.
Back to his roots also comes out of the Belmont Turf Sprint. It was a race where they probably could have gotten even a little more forward than they did. Luis Saez opted for the pocket trip, a little bit flat in the stretch, but they were sprinting on home. It's his 3rd start off of a long layoff. Maybe he's ready for a move forward for John Terranova. I do wonder if the 7's a little far for him.
I wonder about that too. I also kind of wonder, how good he actually is. We'll see. I feel like he's going to be the right kind of a price for a horse who's actually taken some money in his last 3 or 4 starts. I can actually see him being a better price in here. So I didn't want to be too hard on him. I don't want to bet him. And I don't think he got necessarily the greatest ride last time. I still wonder how good he is.
Maxwell Esquire didn't get out of the gate that well last time out at Saratoga, going 5.5, and I think that just basically ended his day. His prior races at Belmont especially are good. He likes 7 furlongs. To me, he's the kind of horse that's going to need a little bit of hitting up front.
Yeah, he is. They're going to sit and make one run with this horse. I actually think he's probably even a little better than he looks on paper, Dan. Another horse who I want to use at a price in this race. Whether he's good enough or not, I think that remains to be seen. It's a pretty big question, I think. I will say, though, you can go back and take a look at his lucky coin last time, because he was really running through the stretch of that race and he got totally stopped.
Guildsman, the number 10. If you don't believe the pace for the Belmont Turf Sprint was slow, just consider the Guildsman was right there pushing the winner early. And this is a horse that is more of a one-run type than anything else. He was likely taken out of his game. Now, I started liking Guildsman early on. He was a graded stakes winner at Kentucky Downs in 2020. I think he's kind of lost me a little bit.
Yeah, me too. I don't know. He doesn't seem like he's ever really panned out. Maybe he had some potential when he first got here. It hasn't happened for him. Yeah, he's more of a closing sprinter, so maybe going forward last time worked against him, but he was still the longest shot on the board in there, was close to a slow pace and was no match.
Value Proposition was beaten by Flavius in the Lure, but he ran without a left shoe, so he has an excuse there. And then Chad found a great spot for him. Let's watch the Red Bank. Only a 4-horse field, and Value Proposition is just simply too good for these horses. He earns a 97 Beyer speed figure. He's one of the fastest horses in this race on the way in, with 3 triple-digit Beyers on his page. And he just looks like the kind of horse where if you can get him to relax and settle early, he'll come with his run.
He will. I mean, this was, obviously Chad just finding a great spot for him to finally pick up what feels like an overdue stakes win for him, Dan. But he had run well against some better horses earlier on. He just didn't work out for him. As you mentioned, he's not the easiest horse to ride all the time, but he's got great tactical speed. I just feel like he's a major player in here, cutting back to a distance that might really work for him.
And Fauci comes off a rallying third in the Franklin Simpson for 3-year-olds. We'll watch that race right now. He broke from post 11 in an 11-horse field. He's going to be on the outside turning into the stretch, and he runs on okay to be third. This is a tough spot, though, trying older horses.
Yeah, trying older horses, stretching out to 7. He's a little bit underrated, though, isn't he? I mean, he's really actually held his form since he left the Wesley Ward barn. This trainer has really kept this horse going. I thought he ran well in each of his last 2 starts. I don't know if that makes him a real contender in here, but he's another one. He could sit and make one run and pick up some pieces.
But I guess with a horse like Fauci, you always have a shot. We're going to take a look at our top picks for the Oyster Bay. 7/8 on the turf by Land and Sea. Mike, you're a big fan, and yeah, he was troubled last time out, no doubt.
Yeah, I just want to give him one more chance. The 3 Chad horses obviously make a lot of sense in here. I'm not way against them, Dan. I just wanted somebody at a better price, and it's going to be him.
I wish I liked Value Proposition a little bit more, Mike, coming into this race. Considering that he's probably going to be a short price, I just think he might be the best horse on the way in, and I think he'll be kicking hard in the stretch. I want to use the number 4 horse in this race as well, Emirati, another Chad runner, but I agree with you. I think Byland and Sea deserves a lot of respect. I have him third. 7-4, 11-9 for Mike, 11-4, 7-5 for me. Same triple, different order. Oyster Bay Stakes, feature at Belmont on Friday. Good luck.